I think we can go on.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I manage, I run for a company, it's Elephant's Health, sometimes Delaware. You see them on TV once in a while. I work for them. And I manage 130-some kids.
All right.
Telephone.
I think we'll go ahead
It's a
and,
state contract.
maybe she'll be able to show up, but we'll go ahead and
Yeah. So,
call to order at 6:05 PM, meeting of the Keeping Saginaw Beautiful Board. Audience participation, if anyone in the audience wishes to address the board on any item listed on the agenda, please fill out one of the audience participation forms located by the east door of the council room. After the form is completed, please hand it to the board secretary. Your request to speak will be given to the chairman, and you will be called upon to speak when the item is discussed. Next item is the approval of the minutes from June 22nd, 2026. Have y'all had a chance to take a look at those?
I make a motion to approve them.
I second.
Okay, give me 1 sec, I'm trying to load that up on my end.
Sorry, I probably should have called roll. Pamela's here. I leave in 3 weeks. I'm excited.
How long are you going for?
I'm going for work, but I'm going to stay in Shanghai for a few extra days.
Well,
and,
how long total?
14 days.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited. And we're spending one night in Tokyo, so.
Wow.
Are we voting?
Yes, you guys can
Sorry.
go ahead and cast your vote now.
Is it going to come up or to?
You should be able to click on the small screen for the voting to show up,
Oh, my
or...
screen's not on.
Let me see.
I'm not getting the vote screen.
I don't know where the button is, or I'd turn it on.
I don't know what, mine just popped.
Yours is right. Yours
Yeah,
is right.
I
There
did,
it is.
but
Now
I
I know
don't know
for
what I
next
did to
time.
get there, so I can't help you.
Mine's on, it just didn't make it to that screen.
Thank you.
So next is, okay, so that was the approval of the May 4th minutes. Is that what we just did?
It's approved for the June 22nd meeting,
Okay.
and then the next one.
The next one is for the specially called meeting. We've got all kinds of pages here. Regular called meeting of June 27th, okay. Now for the special called meeting on July 22nd, 2026. Would anybody like to make a motion? Have you all had a chance to look at those?
Yes, it was a special call
22nd.
meeting.
Yeah.
The short, it was a short one.
Yeah, I wasn't there either, so.
And it was a 15-minute meeting. It wasn't that long.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes for that meeting? Let me turn on your speaker. Miranda.
I second.
Is that a motion first from Miranda?
Yes, I'll motion that.
Should
We're all
be
set for that
able
one?
to vote on your screen if you guys see it.
Fabulous. All right. Next up is a discussion and action regarding the Yard of the Month nominations for August 2026. We've got a couple of nominations. Nope. They're gonna, oh, yay. That's great.
I'm pulling up a slide. The last nomination, the applicant did reached out to me just shortly after the posting of the agenda to ask if they could add more pictures because the form didn't allow them for some reason to submit multiple. So just FYI, my version just has an additional picture at the end. It's yard 1, quadrant 2, picture submitted. This is yard 2, quadrant 2. These were the pictures submitted. Yard 3, quadrant 1. This is the first picture submitted. And then this right here is the second portion.
What a beautiful yard.
All these yards always make me feel bad about mine. All right.
I mean,
Well,
I think yard
what-
3 is
I love yard 3.
Yard
fabulous.
3.
Win. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
Someone's out there every day, and covering their mailbox like that's nice too. I love it.
Mhm.
It must be this house 3.
Yes. Out of quadrant 1, and then, so this was yard 2, right? Okay, so that's yard 2 with the swirly, I love the swirlies.
Yeah. Do we have 2 winners a month?
You guys have the option to select 2, yes.
Okay.
Hmm?
Honestly, though, the third one blows all of them out the water. I think we should just give it to one. They're doing work.
Well, if we're doing 2, I like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Brenda?
I like yard 3 and 4.
This is the same.
This is the same house?
Yeah, as the next one. Can you go to
They
the
have
next?
2 photos of it, so was the last one. Maybe that's just like a different POV, you know?
Yeah, so this is up closer,
Yeah.
and then this is the second picture they sent. And they did mention that there's only one bush left here because they did prune the roses, if that's the terminology.
That's whatever. That's
they-
great, though.
They just sent a more updated POV from when
Yeah.
they submitted the nomination to whenever we posted the agenda packet.
Yeah.
I can already hear you sneezing and itching.
I know, right? I know, but it would be so worth it. Yep.
I think yards 2 and 3 would be, you know, they both did excellent work. Yard 1 is nice, but 2 and 3 are better.
All right. Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for that. For what I said.
2 and 3. I second the motion for yards 2 and 3.
At least y'all know I can't have this pretty yard.
Wish my yard looked like that.
I know, right?
I can't do that. I have no time for that.
Just gorgeous.
I just
All right.
like it, but I.
You should be able to cast your vote on your screen. Do you see it? Okay.
Yeah, it is too hot. I would rather.
Are you voting in
I
favor?
think the conservation of water is very important, so I try not
I
to do
agree
that.
with that too.
Pamela, is it the same for you? Is it showing up on your screen, the voting as well, or no?
Yes.
Okay. Are you voting in favor, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
in favor of 2 and 3.
Okay.
The electronics are not cooperating today.
Yeah.
I was busy reading the background discussion.
Okay.
All right.
Ready when you are for the next item.
We're good. All right, next we have a discussion regarding the multi-year agreement with the holiday decoration vendor.
Yeah, so for context for the new members, the Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board has historically funded the purchase and installation of holiday displays, either for city facilities or for park displays alongside with either the city and at times collaborating with Parks Advisory and Recreation Board. For approximately the past 15 years, so before my time as the liaison, First Choice Lights has been the recurrent provider utilized for the services of installation, maintenance during installation, removal, and storage during off seasons for the city for the scope of work that I attached. So that includes all of the city facilities here in McElroy, the one for building inspections that used to be the old Chamber of Commerce, the Joy Splendor Community Center, and some gazebos and light poles at Willow Creek Park and the train wagon back there. Last holiday season in preparation, since we didn't have an existing contract or anything, we had to abide to purchasing policy and obtain multiple quotes from vendors to go with the one that adjusted to our budget the most and was the lowest in terms of the services provided. First Choice Lights, after the vendor search from last year, remained the most cost-effective option based on the scope of work that we had. While doing that search too, another thing that we ran into as a potential challenge that we could face if we transitioned to another vendor last year was that the trees that we install, those 24-footer and 14-footers, might not be used by other vendors because of their branding. And sometimes it sounds simple, but those do get assembled in parts and broken down in parts whenever they're removed with different labeling and pieces intertwined that bring them together. So we did have a couple of those vendors disclose to us that if we did transition to a contract with a different company, we could potentially incur charges when it comes to either buying new trees with new vendors because they don't use the trees that we currently have, or the installation charges being higher because they're having to adjust themselves to a product they don't normally carry. So during that review, when the board was approving the quote, majorly the members present during that meeting did express interest in either like looking for a multi-year agreement and doing like another rebidding for just exploring a multi-year contract option so that we don't have to do each year the whole process of looking for quotes and getting vendors to submit that and going through the approval of Keep Saginaw Beautiful and then council. So in response to that interest, staff evaluated options for the multi-year contract, especially the piggybacking option from an existing competitively procured contract between the city of Grapevine and First Choice Lights. This was something that was not like idea initiated just from out of the blue. It was something that through the vendor search and reference contacting that I did last year when getting those quotes, some of the cities that I was running into that First Choice Lights used mentioned that they were themselves currently doing piggybacking off of the Grapevine contract or in an existing multi-year contract with First Choice Lights. That's how the idea came about. So for the city of Grapevine, for those that don't know, it is considered the capital of Christmas here in Texas. They're known for their really extravagant Christmas decorations and just generally for putting a lot of effort into that within their city. So we really consider them a strong reference when it comes to their opinion to what vendor they are utilizing in year to year. And they recently, in October of 2023, had done a competitive bidding and awarded First Choice Lights when speaking to the reference that we had, Contact Point in Grapevine. As of this year, their satisfaction is still the same as it was when entering the contract, and nothing really was noted that could potentially change the terms that they currently are in. That is 9 years, and they have the option to renew in each of those at 1-year terms. The city of Hearst subsequently also utilized the Grapevine agreement to establish its own contract with First Choice Lights. So I'm here to show you this contract and propose this similar approach to what the city of Hearst is implementing for their holiday display services. Just again, as an explanation, piggybacking just commonly referring to something that allows the municipality to utilize the terms established through another agency's competitive procurement process. rather than conducting a separate solicitation for similar services. So essentially, the city of Grapevine already did a comprehensive competitive bidding process to select vendors out of the multiple that they received, and they were able to find, after all of that search and process, that First Choice Lights was the best fit for vendor. So if we do that, we don't have to do the entire process of having to do like a rebidding every year or every so often. So long as the city of Grapevine is within a 9-year contract, we would be within a 9-year contract if this contract is executed. However, if you note with the attachment included, it does give us the option to cancel services in between if they're not being fulfilled accordingly to our standards and our scope of work. And each year, we still get the flexibility to determine the scope of work in terms of where we want trees installed or how we want the decoration to change, or if we need something changed to reduce pricing, et cetera.
Have they done all these things in like a due time every single year, or is this like, what were those little things on the poles, you know what I'm talking about, the flags? Yeah, I know that you said there was trouble with it. Is this a company that's just been reliable this whole time?
No, this is a different company. So the one that we used to use for banner installation, it's Willow Creek Signage or something along those lines. And this company doesn't do any banner installation, or we haven't used them for banner installation.
What I'm saying is like, you said those companies weren't very reliable in their installation. Has this company that you're talking and referring to
gotcha.
now?
I'm
has
sorry.
been-
I misunderstood your question.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I've been the liaison for this board, started in 2025. Last year, after selecting them from the process of collecting quotes, I didn't run into any issues of them not completing the scope of work. They were really flexible too, because I know that we had the quote approved by city council a little later in August or early October, and they were able to accommodate whatever schedule we have for the holiday parade. Because of since they've been working with us for close to over 15 years, they are very knowledgeable as well as to where everything needs to go. So it does make the installation process a lot quicker when an agency has institutional knowledge of where the city's at, where the facilities are at. And when I was talking to our public works director and assistant director who have reviewed this contract, they have also expressed no prior negative consistently bad things with this vendor or any major issues that,
So no reason to really,
right at this point. I know that Melissa has also been at the board for a while, so I'm not sure if she has anything that came to mind, but from the references I obtained and other staff feedback, it seems like it's always been a pretty pleasant
good thing,
experience.
Yeah, I think that they've been,
more than good?
yeah, I can't recall anything bad at all.
Okay.
Just say, so for all these years or whatever, or not, I don't even remember how many years I've been doing this now. I haven't heard anything, but, does this have the new,
Scope of work?
the new fixtures that we picked earlier this year?
No, so those fixtures would be getting installed from my understanding, because I know that was Jared Kersey, Assistant Director proposal. From my understanding, they're going to be getting installed by the Public Works crews.
Okay,
Yes. So we only paid for the one-time purchase.
Strings of lights on buildings.
yeah, but they have a few of these fixtures that they mentioned in here, so I wasn't sure, because they mentioned the elf scene and the barn scene and stuff like that, so I just wasn't,
Yeah, so the ones that were approved the last couple of months, just one-time purchase.
that's just, okay, that's just one time.
But again, just to kind of get back to that discussion, the city's legal team attorney did review, and we reviewed this contract, and we went through a period of drafting back and forth with their team to come to this final version that allows us the flexibility, again, to cancel the contract if we become unsatisfied with the services they provide, but it does allow us to stay within the leftover of the 9-year agreement that the city of Grapevine established after competitive bidding.
They sound great to me. I love
The-
the contract, you can terminate early.
And then, again, the agreement doesn't commit us to the same scope of work when it comes to decorations each year. So it allows the continuity of the city's existing holiday displays. And vendor, it just provides that flexibility as well in changes and cancellation. I also included the proposed 2026 scope of work. The only difference from last year is that this year we are proposing incorporating, instead of doing C9 lights in the middle roof of the building that weren't really that visible or impactful last year, doing something at the top roof of the library senior center building at the front of this facility, and wrapping greenery and red bows on the 6 poles that are in the front of the building. Just changing decorations and placement for something that would be more impactful. The total charges of the proposed scope of work would be $44,751.25 this year. The amount that was budgeted is $46,000, so we are under budget. But again, the price will vary year to year, because if next year you guys want to change placement of trees or change decoration for the library, etc., it could be a different price. At this point, I'm open to any questions regarding the contract or the proposed scope of work. You guys have any feedback of anything else that you'd like to see incorporated?
Looks good to me.
So on that price, their bid was 63,000. So this is just our portion, right?
Right, that is just our portion. This contract would also incorporate what the city's operating, like year-to-year budget, 'cause the city does have a certain amount allocated for Christmas decorations, for the stuff that the public works crews just can't cover. And the last item, $3,200, that's gonna be covered by the library board. So this has been kind of like an interdepartmental and multiple board collaboration. The library board, from what the library director reported to me, has already approved the purchase of the 14-foot tree. That would be something that comes out of their funds separately, and they're gonna be paying for that $3,200. So the only thing that is our portion is the $44,751.25 for this year. And the contract doesn't bind us to any price or scope of work. So each year, I will come back to you to get authorization on the scope of work.
Awesome.
Anybody else have any other questions?
No?
No, Grapevine uses them, they have to be a good company.
No kidding.
I've never been through Grapevine Christmas time, but they do amazing.
Yep,
I wish we had a main street like they do, all the small businesses. So,
that'd be fun. Nice.
So
Give-
essentially, this is saving all the procurement work and background work that would have to be done by the city by being able to piggyback on it.
Which, all
Correct.
that work costs money too. I mean, I need time to invest in this money.
It's a great
Mhm.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the money that doesn't get seen but really gets felt.
Mhm.
Awesome. Do we need to pass this?
I didn't make it an action item, just to make it a discussion and give you guys a chance to give me feedback if you wanted to see something incorporated on the contract, et cetera. So if you guys don't see anything that needs to be added to what's already there, and the scope of work looks good, I'm not sure if you guys, if the scope of work looks good, then we can proceed. If not, I'll take any feedback that you guys want to have changed there.
Looks good. Great job.
Okay?
Good to me.
I'll just note that in the comments.
It's certainly efficient.
So we're ready for the next item when you guys
All
are.
right, we are ready. Next item is going to be a discussion regarding the overpass mural project.
Awesome.
Okay?
It's my favorite
No one
discussion.
See my screen. So just quick update, 2 months ago on the June 22nd meeting, we did have a workshop, not relating to just this project, but talking about the other mural ideas that the board had and the banner program. Because of the cost of this project and the others, The purpose for the workshop that we had in June 22nd was for the board to give me feedback as to which projects should be getting prioritized. And after that workshop, the general consensus was that the board wanted to really see the overpass mural project get executed and to have that be the priority in terms of funding for the upcoming fiscal years. So if you recall earlier this year, when we were looking at the general price ranges, we didn't want to commit to any purchases until we obtained city council's feedback and see if they would be in support of it. Late May, this was taken to council to see if they would be interested in supporting this project before we proceed. They really did like the idea and had a couple feedback for the board to consider when narrowing down the scope of work and determining the theme. So far, they have really liked the idea of approaching theme and design in terms of having native plants, flowers, and birds of North Texas. The other themes, again, that have been loosely discussed, but we haven't had any formal designs or renderings be made, where either like a train and grain theme, where we have a nod to the grain elevators and the trains that are in the city, or for us to do a rustic kind of like old-time Western Texas theme for the mural. So those three were kind of the general options discussed, again, based on color and impact. Council was really for something like native plants and flowers. So that, and including the 9 murals within the project, was another feedback or another priority that they consider the board should incorporate in the scope of work. Either having all of them be full coverage, or maybe just the 2 closest to Saginaw Boulevard be full covered and then spread out to the rest of the pillars and the bridge. But they definitely wanted to see the mural incorporate all of the 9 pillars. Mm-hmm. Before that presentation, I did do a quote collection, and I received 4 quotes from different artists. We provided tours of the site, so with the help of the Public Works crew, we drove up to the pillars to give the artists a chance to look at it up close, maybe get their own personal measurements, and determine how much it would really cost to make something like this possible. So I have more accurate price ranges from just the general estimates I gave you all last time we had a workshop. But first proposal, Artist 1, and again, these prices are not final because we haven't posted a bid, because at this time we hadn't finalized the scope of work. We were just trying to get an idea of how much it would cost to even have a mural in place for a structure that large. So Artist 1, they split up their proposal in 2. So if we wanted to do a more simplified graphic approach where the images are not hyper realistic, you're looking at $127,000 just off the bat. And then for a realistic representation of the flowers and birds and any other components, then it does jump to $149,351. This cost doesn't include a boom left rental cost. So if the artist provided it, there could be an additional charge. But in the past, the city has provided equipment for artists to be lifted up for other murals so that we could cut costs as much as possible.
Do you have the information on these artists so we can kind of see the scope of their abilities to make a decision on, because like higher costs might not necessarily mean the vision we're going for?
I do have that information that I can send to you, because today is not a selecting an artist discussion. Figured to not include it since we are going to post a bid. And so it might be unfair to those artists that want to resubmit a bid once we narrow down our scope of work to like have their information out there, but I can definitely send it to you via email.
So this listing of Artist 2 pricing is just to give us a ballpark.
So that's Artist 1.
But I mean, then there's Artist 2 and Artist 3.
Right. I'm just giving you an idea of like where the ranges are currently at.
Okay.
So that's all this is.
Yes, you guys are not selecting a quote today
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
Yes, just want to preface that discussion. We would still need to do a request for proposals, a formal one, because only quotes were received, 4 quotes were received when I was doing a pre-research before even approaching council, so that we could have a more narrowed down cost estimation. But after receiving these costs, I mean, it's really clear that this will be a multi-year project, and that we are going to have to likely enter contract with one of these artists.
Yeah.
So,
And just one artist is gonna do all 9 pillars.
from the proposals that we have here, right? But that's not
Yeah.
necessarily what we would have to do. I know that there are art consulting companies that have multiple employed artists. So when we post a request for proposals, it gets posted on the newspaper and our website, et cetera. So we might, have a wider outreach and receive different options. But these are all just independent artists, the proposals that are received, of just people that do it on their own.
So you might get a company that have.
Right, when we post requests for proposals.
Did they give any indication of how long it would take to do them all? Like,
So it really
from
depends
start
as
to
to how we
finish?
phase it out, but it was varying from 4 to 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah, because it will require lane closures.
That was going to be my next question.
Yes, and permitting from TxDOT, all of those logistics that will come once we are even, ready to authorize a purchase.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
are we going, permitting from TxDOT from a municipality, is that have a cost with it as well?
I don't recall the pricing of TxDOT, but for a municipality, from my understanding, we've never had to pay for permitting to work in Saginaw Boulevard. We just have to make sure that we obtain a permit approval, which we'll have to in this case, as well as from BNSF.
It's okay.
2 of the pillars are really close to the train tracks, and because the artists are going to require equipment to work near those train tracks, we'll have to submit a permit through them as well.
And will
He's
we
just
have,
curious.
are we going to need to put up some kind of walling when the trains come by and kick up everything under the sun?
So when the artists, these 4 artists all visited the site, and that was a question that came up, right? Like if their equipment could fit in there. There is enough space, but legally, I believe it's like their threshold is 20 feet. So if you're gonna have anything within 20 feet, you have to submit a permit to BNSF. So even though the equipment's not gonna be right up against the train tracks, it's close enough that we have to obtain a permit from them as well.
My question was, were any of them concerned about the train kicking up dust and stuff and messing up the mural while they're working?
It wasn't a concern brought by any of them, no, but
Okay.
I also didn't ask that specifically. It was more so in relation to obstruction, not necessarily the powder, but that's a good
When
point
I've
that
seen murals done before, normally they put up like
I wasn't
a,
considered.
like
A
a shit, like
guard
a
or
canvas
something.
wall.
Yeah, especially
sheet.
on probably
Yeah.
by the road.
Out here
stuff
especially,
coming
yeah.
up, yeah. I'm allergic to that too.
Yeah, that's a big box.
It's the wasp.
They're just curious, right?
Join me.
They're lost.
So the next step is, from us, is to say, for you to go design an RFP.
I'm gonna get to that point,
Oh,
but
okay.
yes.
Okay.
So sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just giving you guys the ranges because last time it was a workshop about all projects, so we didn't really get a chance to see all of the pricing information that I had for you guys. So this was the second option, right? This person, this artist, it didn't really make a difference when it comes to pricing, whether or not we chose a more complex representation of the flower, something more realistic. Their difference in pricing was whether or not a lift was provided by the city, whether or not they were going to have to pay out of their own pocket to rent the equipment. This third artist, right? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, with Tier 1, just one main subject, and you cover not the entirety of the background. Sorry, second option, you have 2 main subjects, and the background covers all of the surface area. But if you want something that covers the entirety of the pillar and has multiple subjects, by that I mean like 2 birds, multiple types of flowers, and it's saturated, then this is the price range that you're looking at, this third option right here. I'm gonna show you image examples as well too in a moment so you guys can picture it. But this fourth artist, again, like the first one, they're just splitting it up in terms of how realistic the imagery will be in terms of design. So these are examples for something that would be in the lower cost range, right? As you see, that's not a hyper-realistic plant. It's a representation of plants with bold colors in the background and big shapes that make it recognizable, but they're not an accurate representation of the flowers or plants. There's something like this where it might be low cost because it doesn't cover the entirety of the pillar. It's only halfway through, and it has simple images. Again, not a realistic representation. Examples of something that will be considered higher cost in terms of imagery, something like this.
So do you
Right.
think the request for proposal is gonna have to be really specific in terms of saying
Yes.
what this artist said, that there were one or two main subjects and a background coverage?
Yes, we'll have to be more specific with our scope of work, so that's something that I'm here for today, to get you guys' guidance before I start drafting that request for proposal,
So we
but
really can't say simple graphic or realistic imagery.
But
No,
that's what we're working on today, right? Is trying to
Yes.
hone in on the, okay.
Mhm. We
I
would need-
think personally, something that's really rudimentary, I wouldn't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on. I think that for the life, or the lifetime of the city, if it's going to be there, you know, like having something more realistic to hone in on. And to be honest, it's going to be right across the street from Walmart. I think that if you look inside there, and it being for real, they have art right in the front of it. I would hate for it to kind of like look like that, or like look like it matches it, because it is rudimentary. And so like if we had something there and it's not, you know, so simple, it would really kind of stand out, because it's unfortunately in a spot that kind of would make it, like, if it is rudimentary, it would kind of look like, to me, I wouldn't want to spend money on that. I would, you know, nix it, but I think something more realistic is maybe, in my opinion, would be.
yeah, and there's different ways in which we can incorporate that. So this example that you're seeing on screen right now,
No.
if you see it or if you don't,
Ah,
have you guys not been seeing my picture?
now we do.
No.
No.
See, I love that.
Well, this is an example of a lower cost range.
I don't like that.
That first one that I showed you guys, right? And then high cost range, you're looking at, you know, higher brackets because of the hyperrealism and the fact that the entirety of the pillar, even if the top part doesn't have that many components going on, there's still color. It still got painted to match the rest.
Yeah.
This one
I love that.
doesn't cover the entirety of the pillar because there's not a background color in all of it, at least from first view, right? They might have painted with gray in the back, but it seems like they focused only in pictures that look like they're popping out, the insects and the flowers there, but they are very realistic. So even though it's not full coverage, we're leaning towards a higher cost range because of those reasons. This is another example. There is background, and it's more realistic than the first two. So I just kind of wanted to get
Yeah.
that across to what I mean when I say graphic representation of images and realistic approach. So again, you guys have driven through that overpass probably a lot. Just wanted to show you general locations that you have in your packet for your reference of where those pillars are located. The key ones are pillar number 4 and 5. As you can see, those are the ones closest to Saginaw Boulevard. But the largest ones are 5 and 6. There is a train track right here. So that is because of the proximity of this pillar. There is curved space for even a truck to park at. We didn't have a lack of space. It's really just that it's so close to a BNSF train track that we have to obtain a permit. Same for these two pillars right here. Pillar number 4 and 5, a right-of-way permit will have to be obtained from TxDOT as well. This is the rest of the pillar that goes into East Bailey Boswell. just included examples within your packet along with the dimensions, so that you guys can also get an idea of like how large we are looking at when it comes to how big the image is really gonna look to the person driving by or the person parked right next to it. So, reason I'm here today, we have the green light from City Council. Board has clearly established that this project is a priority, so now we need to narrow down what the funding commitment will be yearly, because this is something that wouldn't be recommended to be paid out in a year. One, we don't have the funds if we go for something for a higher cost range, but as you guys know, we receive our money from voluntary donations. Those can always fluctuate, and depending on the public opinion on whether or not those are something they want to, partake in, they can go up and down. So we don't have a guarantee of funding. Hence, we want to be conservative about how much we commit ourselves to spend every year for a project of this size all at once. So after talking to our finance director, just kind of getting an idea of what we forecast receiving in revenues and what we regularly spend, we would recommend staying within the $50,000 to $60,000 line each year. And that is including the $25,000 for our projects that is including within the live budget. So there will be $25,000 within our operating budget, and whatever's over, we don't recommend for that to exceed this range right here. So the other points to consider that we need to get finalized is the scope of work. City Council was like, for sure, let's incorporate all 9 pillars, whether that be full coverage for all of them, but they did bring up the idea of how about only full coverage to the ones closest to Saginaw Boulevard, and somehow have a design that incorporates the rest, but it's not full coverage, maybe spreads out and dilutes into the rest of the other 9 pillars. So they kind of were in reference to this example right here. They didn't like the images, they more so liked the idea of maybe just doing like halfway coverage for the other pillars, maybe just decreasing in kind of like a tiered way so that we save some money in there. But again, the pro of painting the background for all pillars is that if there's any stains in the concrete or just like, spots that are not the most aesthetically pleasing, they might stand out a little more. If not all of it's covered, and when you look at it against a really pretty color after it gets painted. So that's why I'm here today. Another point that I would need the board's guidance on, if you guys want to do full coverage for maybe 2 or 3 pillars or 4, which ones of the 9 pillars would those be? Or if you guys want to do full coverage of the entirety of the overpass.
Is it an option to contract a couple of them and see what public opinion is before contracting the rest? I asked because of the roundabout decorations that everybody went holistic over.
They're still going on about those.
And they're not even in the city of Saginaw. But if that was,
Yeah.
That's because they look very silly.
well, yes, they're, but,
And I'm glad you bring that up because we do probably want to get input from the public. Just don't know if the board would prefer to either post, not professionally done designs, or maybe just the idea, like the concepts of like, would the city want to see a native flowers and birds theme, or a grain in, Western culture theme, and then just have 2 options for people to vote, or if we do something different, another alternative that I think North Haven's bridge project did, which is this one right here. They looked for professional arborists and biologists in the area to get feedback as to what plants were actually native to that area, and then they did a polling to see which ones people liked the most. And they ended up being the subjects of the mural, right? So if we want to for sure stick to the native flowers and birds, instead of giving the public too much input as to what we're going to have there, maybe we just give them the option of like, which would you like to see? Let
Yeah,
us
two
know.
bids, if you will, two bids from artists and what they want.
Yeah, I mean, not even, just
'Cause
kind
if
of.
there are too many options,
Just
it's
kind of,
just-
wouldn't you like to see this under the bridge, kind of?
Yeah.
You know, and see what the commenting it, because, I mean, it looks like we're going to be committing to $50,000 a year for maybe up to 4 years or more.
Depending on the
And
artist.
I would hate to commit to that whole amount and.
So you're kind of saying like maybe first pay for the design of a mural and then award the actual
I
painting?
mean, I think all of the other murals we've done have been very well received, right?
Yeah, we haven't ever gotten any public comment or reports regarding those murals. They're very,
But how much was the most expensive one? The tank?
without looking at the reports in front of me, it might have been the tank or the Welcome to Saginaw that is in the grain elevator over there. And the grain silo at the entrance.
Yeah.
That one was a pretty expensive one too.
Maybe we can do like it in waves, if you will, like, hey, we're gonna do a realistic mural on this bridge, 9 pillars. What would the city like to see? Give them the options there. When we get further into the process, it can be something a little bit more, in depth about like what they, like, we came up with this, the city voted on this. These are the 2 options we have. What is everyone's thoughts and feelings or something about this? Because I feel if you give them too much power, it'll be, no one's
I
happy.
like that. Not, do you want to do it or not, but we're going to do it, and which do you like?
Okay. So I'm hearing you guys,
Negotiate with them.
I'm hearing that even though you guys like the idea of native plants and flowers, you still want to have a poll first to see if people like that theme?
Say it again.
Well,
No, I don't, no, not the theme, but kind of the idea.
well,
Okay.
or so maybe say something along the lines of like realistic, this flowers and let's say because there's a bird in there, a bird that's local, or something of that nature, but also say, is there any input? Like, is there something we as regular people on this board don't know about that could be included? Because if we have someone who's local who knows like, did you know Saginaw has X, Y, and Z? Maybe we can incorporate that into something later on and just give the most minimal amount of input that people can, like yes, no, and then also a little bit of something, because I fear if we say just native plants and other things, it's gonna be like, well, why aren't you doing trains again, or why aren't you doing, grain, if you will? But, a couple of different options of these plants, yes or no's, like simple, super
No
simple.
egrets.
No egrets. Yeah,
That
or
one-
something, maybe just something
That
simple,
won't get torn up.
or maybe if people like the western idea, I know it is Texas, but.
Are we still on the scope of the work though, like, are we trying to do all the pillars and you're gonna put out a request for proposal? Is it gonna be a multi-year contract then, or are we just trying to get a proposal for the 2 biggest pillars?
So we're trying to get if the board wants to, include all 9 pillars. Again, that was something that city council recommended. So I think their point of view, it's like, it'll look odd to maybe just have 2. Like, it would be great to incorporate the structure, because it's something that you drive along when you're driving through Bailey Boswell. My question to you is, based on that recommendation, do you guys want full coverage in all of the 9 pillars? Or do you want to just do full coverage in the ones closest to Saginaw Boulevard, or maybe the biggest ones and spread out to the rest?
I kind of like the idea of spreading out to the rest.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I would just wonder if it's going to be too busy.
Yeah, I think
Just
it's a fine idea.
really dark under that, as you get closer to the edges of the bridges, it gets dark, so I'm not sure people are looking at that. So I like that idea too.
If we do that one, which pillars would you guys like to have be the focus?
Center.
Okay. So Saginaw Boulevard, center to Saginaw Boulevard.
Correct.
Yeah, the ones right
So
off.
when people are driving through, they can,
Okay. Is there something, it's a little too early to finalize design. So what I'm getting at is we're not gonna let, are we still
I
sure if we're gonna
I
let
still
the?
like the native plants and birds and,
Yeah.
So do we want the polling to be more in the sense of getting people to let us know what flowers, what plants, and what birds they'd like to see incorporated? Or do we want to, as Melissa proposed, maybe do an initial poll with another theme idea and see which
no,
one?
I don't necessarily want another theme idea, but maybe give them a little bit of a,
I would do themes, because how many people really know all of the wonderful birds of Texas, or the butterflies, or the grasses? You know, if you look at that one pillar, there are probably 4 different kinds of butterflies, and
Could we break it down into like themes of like focus of like plants and wildlife, or like, stuff like that?
themes,
Okay, like doing it like that, but what themes would it be then? Would it be like plants, nature, wildlife? Because we could break that down into 2 different things essentially, but like what other things? Is like birds a theme? Is flowers a theme? Or like,
wildlife versus like western train,
so native plants,
I don't wanna-
flowers, birds,
Texas history.
yeah, okay. I guess that way.
That encompasses a lot that you can fit
Yeah.
into that without, or Old West. Is it that we're the gateway to the West?
Or maybe we can
Or
do
where
like
the West begins? Which one are we?
grain and flowers,
oh yeah,
something like that.
western.
Is that it? Are we where the West begins or the gateway? Dallas is the
I have
gateway,
no
where
idea.
where the West begins, right? Fort Worth.
Fort Worth is where the west begins, yeah. We're surrounded by Fort Worth, right?
We're
So
surrounded
we're
by
part
Fort
of the frontier, I guess.
We need a reason for
We
people
are
to drive
farther
up
west
here.
than most of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I will say, if we do that, only recommendation from staff is maybe not incorporate anything that's too on the nose about grains and trains
Yeah. I
or
think
grain elevators, because
We're already very.
we're already full, right? And that's an
it's a
intersection
very
that
big-
sometimes gets blocked by the train. So it will be ironic for people to be blocked by the train and have to look at a mural right next to them of a train.
Pictures of trains while we're sitting there waiting on a train.
Yeah,
Yep.
the world's most
I can just,
inconvenient
yeah.
train.
But, I mean, yeah, kind of western, maybe more western themed.
Or perhaps give them just the option, because we know we want to do flowers, insects, wildlife. Give them the options to say like maybe color themes, maybe animal themes of like certain things that we might see incorporated into it. So it's not so much of like a big change. So if we had to make small changes, if there is a wild vote about like, let's do this, it's not like changing it up completely on the artist, because there's no indication that these things have been like, can you paint a train on here that looks really nice? It's basically wildlife and things like that. So I'd hate for there to be some sort of change or public opinion change, if you will, that would kind of throw a wrench in the artist's, I guess, designs, that would drastically change this. Because, a butterfly can be changed into a bird pretty easily, I presume. But putting a train or something like that in the middle of it might be
We
rather
could do
difficult.
too, if the board, this is like a discussion of like what could be like a good approach that you guys are brainstorming right now. But just FYI, if you guys don't want me to do like a voting poll, it could be a form, like a link to a form where people
Put their opinion in.
type of information of, components they would like to see incorporated in terms of, we give them a list of maybe examples of flowers that are native to this region. Right, like the red birds, that's something that you see everywhere. If you're at Willow Creek Park, you'll run into one every now and then. Same with the blue bonnets. Those are just really staples of where we're at. So maybe we can give, if you guys wanted me to, instead of being a voting poll kind of situation where they say yes
Yeah.
or no or one or the other, it could be like a collecting information so that the public feels like they were involved in
I like that idea much
that
better.
subject.
Yeah, that's better than voting.
Because we'll find ideas that are like left and right, and then they're all mixed up, and then no one will be happy.
Nope.
I also don't want to see any more train murals.
So did we do the scope of the work? Did we answer those questions?
So you guys have clarified with me that you would want to see full coverage to the pillars closest to Saginaw Boulevard, and definitely something that incorporates the rest, but that spreads out,
Correct.
Yeah.
so that we're not doing full coverage, full saturation in all pillars.
Correct.
Okay. The next thing that you've confirmed, or that I would confirm, I don't want to assume, is do we want, if we were to start the project next year, for the pillars closest to the center to be the starting point, or for it to go in order in terms of placement of pillars in relation to the overpass?
Do we have any planned work in the area that would, you know, or on that road in particular? Because I know there's a lot of traffic there that we
Not
need
to
to
our
be.
knowledge, but it is a state highway.
Yeah,
So it's one of those
same.
things where we really wouldn't be able to know until we're,
TxDOT's not even gonna.
yeah.
I mean, we can request, is TxDOT gonna override it? Would TxDOT override it if they chose us to do it in a different order, or nada?
Do you mean by overrated, like if there's potential of them just not approving it?
Like overriding the order of doing it? Would they?
I'm sorry, I don't think I understand, like, the question.
Will TxDOT make the decision for us anyway?
Oh, okay.
On what order to be done in as far as road closing and stuff like that?
They can definitely deny a permit for the equipment that we need, like the lift, the boom lift. The pillars that are closest to Saginaw Boulevard, the one on the east side, doesn't have as much of there's like a concrete buffer in the middle, right? Like a curve that you can get on top of. The other pillars have plenty of space for you to walk around safely, but the one on East Bailey Boswell, it runs out of space, so at one point the lift's gonna have to be on the ground. So, I mean, yes, to answer your question, until I submit the permit, I don't know if that's something that could get denied.
I'd prefer the starting at the center, start big.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people can see the biggest part.
The big picture.
first, and then the littler stuff will come later on.
Yeah.
Tallest to smallest.
Yep.
Slay.
So going into the bid requests and the drafting for those requests, we already know that we want something that covers all 9, with the main focus being the center 2. Those are going to be the ones that are the starting point to the rest of the project.
Correct.
And we know that it's going to be a native flowers of Texas and birds theme. How many design check-ins will the board want to see from these artists? And do you guys want to make it a requirement within the bid request that they send their costs and also a proposed design? Or do we want to first do a selection just based on their references and pricing?
I want to see a design. I want to know what they're coming up with.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot
Yeah,
of money.
at least some kind of,
Some sort of mock-up, I think that would be best. Because what if we don't like it?
there's 9 pillars. I think they could give us like 3 ideas at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be
Even if it's
full
rough draft, yeah.
design,
A
but just a-
rough draft.
So for the artist, along with pricing, to include the references and a mock-up. Then for check-ins in terms of design after the approval of a quote, the standard from what I was seeing out there of other projects that have been done in other city, they normally get like about 3 check-in points where the artist submits an initial mock-up and then they get another revision and then a final revision. Do we want to set in stone a certain amount of revisions to secure the board more feedback? Are you guys just kind of okay with going with this standard?
I think the standard is good.
Yeah, I don't see us changing a bunch of things.
In terms of experience, majorly when I was looking for artists, I was looking at the references for their exterior murals, like work done in the exterior. Is there anything else that you guys would like to see me incorporate in terms of requirements for the references or experience?
It's a great question.
I think their work will speak for themselves for the most part.
I would hope that they would have done work of this scope before, not just some artist that's
Yeah.
never taken on a project like this that thinks they can pull it off They've only maybe done small work, and now they want to take on this major multi-year
Yeah.
project.
Work on a boom lift.
Can we like maybe get their Instagrams or wherever they're posting their work? Because I'm assuming that they're posting it somewhere. And of course, like, I mean, the only way to tell about an artist is to see their work. So I guess that would be the only thing. Like social media is wherever they post their content for their exposure, if you will. And then, of course, if they've done anything to this magnitude before. And of course, like, where is it, you know? If it's in the city, if it's in Dallas, if it's in other small towns.
Okay.
I would be concerned too about if they've done one before, has it lasted over time?
Okay.
You know, is there any evidence that they're,
Did it weather prematurely or anything?
Yeah.
So I guess we would want them to, in their pricing, also give us a general estimate of how much they think those are gonna last? Okay, or how soon they'll need touch-ups?
Or like, do they come back? Let's say if it does have we have a big storm and some parts get damaged, do they have like a, you know, we'll fix that up, little spot policy, you know?
Maybe like a warranty?
Yeah.
Like touch-up, like what if there's a car accident and one of the pillars gets banged up and the work gets damaged? I mean, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever their policy is as well.
Artists come back and do the repairs, so it didn't look different.
is there an assumption that this artist or company is gonna be paid over 2 years? Because if we're only spending $60,000 a year, and this comes to like $120,000 just to do the pillars, so are we paying them over 2 years, or how does that work?
It depends on the price range, right? Just dividing it, I think the highest cost one that we received, if we would have approached a quote or approved the quote already, it would have been 5 years for the highest cost that I presented today, for us to finish paying that out. The cons that can come with not being able to pay something out immediately is that the first 2 murals are gonna get painted, and then in the 5th year, the last ones get painted, so the paint might not be as bright in the first ones as it was on the last ones, right? But the other point that you brought up is whether or not artists will be willing to enter a multi-year agreement. And I really cannot answer this question until we post this bids, unfortunately. I can try to reach out to these artists again. I'm gonna have to, right, to let them know where we're at, since they're interested in the project, for the ones that submitted quotes. And I'm hoping that they can give me honest feedback on whether or not they think something like this is doable. If it's something that wouldn't be doable and would have to force us to change our scope of work, I would be right back to you guys. But if that's not something that would be a high concern, then we continue with posting a request for bids. And then hopefully we have more outreach and other companies or artists show interest and submit a proposal, and maybe we have more options. But I'm sorry,
It's okay.
it would be hard to tell right now. Hence, I'm kind of getting you guys' feedback on this because it's kind of a lot in terms of how we can approach it and how we can get the public input on it, especially that. So,
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know if you guys have any
You're
other
doing great.
main points.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
You guys are doing great too. Thank you for the feedback. So I'm getting that majorly, we're not gonna post any kind of voting to give people too much power to say whether or not they want something or what theme.
Same.
We're
Yeah.
just gonna do something to get their input as to what kind of flowers and birds they would like to see incorporated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're naturally going to get some of the opinion one way or the other from it, just less if you don't ask.
Yeah, let's be extremely specific so we don't have stragglers on the ideas.
And I'll try to check in with TxDOT to see what this kind of project could face whenever we move forward with permit requests. But do you guys have any other questions or points you would like me to prioritize looking into right now in the early phases?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the feedback. If you guys don't have any more questions, we're ready to move forward to the next item.
All right, I think we're ready. Next item is going to be the discussion regarding future combined meeting with the City Council and Parks Rec Advisory Board.
Yeah, so I was asked by our city manager to add this item just to let you guys know that there is a signage master plan project that is currently part of City Council's work plan. They are wanting to have a combined meeting with the Keep Saginaw Beautiful Board and Parks and Recreation Advisory for potential collaborations in the upcoming years. So that's what the discussion will be about. Today, they narrowed down a date, and that would be September 22nd. That is a Tuesday. So from the members present, is anyone for sure going to be able to not attend?
Out of the country.
In addition to the people that will be out of the country?
I think that should be fine.
Yeah, it'll be.
Okay. Are any of you, okay, so we would have quorum then. But yes.
Is it the
again,
same, is that the same time?
Yeah, it will be at the same time. It's not a project that, again, is spearheaded by me or anyone here on the board. It's a city council project, so the Susie Victor, she's our Assistant Director of Economic Development. She's assisting with that project, so she'll be here to present more information about what it entails and what they're wanting to propose the board be involved in. So within that conversation, just FYI, keep in mind the projects that are ongoing currently for the board already when you guys determine how you want to be involved. But if you have any questions in preparation to that meeting as well, if you want me to send you any like estimates in terms of available funding or anything like that, I'll have it ready, but let me know if any questions come in between. That was it on that item.
So what's the date of our next meeting?
28th.
Our next meeting is the 28th, so that's why I'm just kind of getting people's availability, because I know it'll be right back to back, not even a week away.
And the joint meeting's the 22nd.
The joint meeting is the 22nd, yes. You don't have any more questions? I'll let the vice chairman take us to the next item.
All right. Then next is the expenditure fund report.
So just FYI, the first payment was made to the holiday display purchases that were approved earlier this year, just the safety deposit. So we would be looking at the other half upcoming in the next couple of months. Small purchase for metal stakes for the reusable Yard of the Month signs that we give to the winners. Those normally get damaged pretty quickly when people step them into their yards if the soil is pretty hard, so just needed some replacements. And just lastly, we didn't have the mowing charge for the month or June until a little later. So those charges were just reflected until this month. We don't have any upcoming expenses other than the routine mowing and Yard of the Month gift cards for the month of September. So that last number right there is the estimated available funds, both allocated and unallocated. I'm open to any questions at this point.
No questions.
Looks
Okay.
good.
Ready for meeting adjournment. Vice Chairman, I
All
have to
right.
open the floor for a motion.
If nobody has anything else, would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, second.
I can't motion. We need a
Someone
Oh,
else
I'll
will
motion.
initiate it.
Sorry, I thought you did. Go ahead.
I'll motion that.
I second. Sorry, I thought you made a motion.
No, I have to request it, but I can't
Request
make
a
a,
motion.
I can't make a motion when I'm
It's okay.
acting chair.